Hi, and welcome to Experience Points by University XP. On Experience Points, we explore different ways we can learn from games. I'm your host, Dave Ang from Games-Based Learning by University XP. Find out more by going to universityxp.com. Today, we're diving deep into a concept that sits right at the heart of game design, core dynamics. What makes a game engaging? Why do some games pull us in and keep us coming back? It's not just the artwork or the theme. It's not even the mechanics alone. It's something deeper. It's the dynamic that drives player action, interaction, and emotion. Today's episode is all about identifying, designing, and testing core dynamics, whether you're a designer, educator, or just a curious player. Understanding this middle layer of gameplay can change how you look at games forever. Before we can talk about dynamics, let's put them in context. One of the most popular models in game design is the Mechanics Dynamics Aesthetics Framework, or MDA for short. Here's how it works. Mechanics are the rules, algorithms, and functions. Dynamics are how the mechanics play out when the game is in motion. Aesthetics are the emotional responses and experiences the player has. Think of it like this. Designers build from mechanics up, while players experience from aesthetics down. Let's take a first-person shooter, for example. The mechanic is shooting. The dynamic is tactical combat. And the aesthetic is fighting through a conflict zone. Here's another great example. In many shooters, players spawn at fixed points. Eventually, some players start camping those points. That's not in the rulebook. That's a dynamic that emerged from how players engage with the system. So what exactly is the difference? Mechanics are the building blocks, moving, jumping, and scoring. Dynamics are what happens when players use those blocks creatively or strategically. Let's examine Super Mario Bros. Jumping is a mechanic. Using jumps to avoid enemies, collect coins, and reach platforms? That's a dynamic. Hyper-casual games often rely on a single mechanic, like tapping or dragging, but that alone doesn't create engagement. Add dynamics like matching or collecting, and you get addictive loops like Bejeweled or Candy Crush. In short, mechanics are what players can do, but dynamics are what players end up doing. Now let's get into it with examining core dynamics. Core dynamics are the central activities that drive the game forward and keep players engaged. They're more than just gameplay loops. They're the essence of play. The core loop is the cycle of actions a player takes: move, collect, score, and repeat. A core dynamic is the emergent behavior from that loop. In Go, placing a single stone changes the entire game state. That's a dynamic of evolving area control. In Super Mario, the left-to-right movement reflects both progress and exploration. Now, how about after adding power-ups? Now you're reinforcing survival and skill development. Core dynamics connect mechanics to aesthetics. They form the sentence of gameplay. For instance, Mario jumps on Goombas to defeat them. That's the subject, verb, and object. So you can see, great game design is like a flowing language. Dynamics come in levels. System dynamics are patterns that emerge from the interaction of mechanics. Think of point salad scoring in Eurogames. Primary dynamics are actions that directly advance the game. Folding in poker is a great example of a primary dynamic. These are compared to secondary dynamics, which are actions that affect player states, like hitting or missing in Battleship. Main dynamics change both the game and player states. Werewolf's nomination phase fits in right here. Every dynamic level plays a role, but the key is how they all tie into the core loop. That loop needs to be smooth, intuitive, and compelling. Let's take a quick tour through some of the most common and compelling core game dynamics. Racing is all about speed. Who gets there first? Think Mario Kart or any game with a leaderboard that gets you moving. Then there's territorial control. This is owning space, owning equity, or owning ideas. Whether it's placing tiles in Carcassonne or grabbing market share in a strategy sim, this one's all about domination. Also, there's collection. Gotta catch them all, right? Whether it's Pokemon cards or racking up login streaks, collecting taps into that deep desire to gather and complete a collection. Then there's prediction or guessing what's coming next. It's the heartbeat of party games or even a quick match of rock, paper, scissors. With the building core dynamic, you're crafting, designing, and bringing something into existence. You can see this in SimCity or Minecraft. This kind of dynamic represents the basic joys of creation. Conversely, there's destruction. Sometimes it's all about blowing things up. Think Doom or any game where combat takes center stage. There is also spatial reasoning as a means for players to puzzle it out. From the clean lines of Tetris to the tactical placement in Connect 4, This dynamic challenges your brain. Trading includes deals and negotiations. Whether it's bartering in Catan or making trades in Animal Crossing, it's all about the art of exchange, whereas exploration is all about finding out what's around that corner. From the open worlds of Zelda to educational games that lead you into the unknown, discovery is the thrill. Somewhat related to racing is chasing and evading, where the structure is predator versus prey. It's a classic dynamic. Think Pac-Man or tag. It's the timeless adrenaline rush of catch or be caught. Then there's the survival dynamic. Whether you're facing monsters or just trying to stay alive, survival games tap into our most primal instincts. The movement dynamic might seem basic, but it's powerful. Movement represents jumping, dodging, and gliding through levels and can be seen in games from Pong to Halo. These aren't just gameplay mechanics. They speak to something deeper, core human instincts like progress, mastery, curiosity, and competition. Once you've designed your core dynamic, you need to test it by building a minimum viable prototype. Strip everything back and focus on the core loop. What's the player doing over and over again? Ask yourself, can I remove this mechanic and still have a game? Does this dynamic support the learning objective or theme? Are there any exploits that break the experience? Use iterative playtesting with different groups and different skill levels. Make sure that you document everything in your testing process. Remember that balance doesn't mean complexity. Sometimes less is more. If you're designing for learning, your core dynamic needs to align with outcomes. Loot boxes are engaging, but do they teach? Don't just reward players, instead challenge them meaningfully. The best serious games balance fun and function. The core dynamic serves as the bridge between the two. So, let's review. The MDA framework helps us break down games. Mechanics are what players do, dynamics are what emerges, and core dynamics shape the gameplay experience. Testing and aligning your dynamic is essential, especially when designing serious games. I hope you found this episode useful. If you'd like to learn more, then a great place to start is with my free course on gamification. You can sign up for it at universityxp.com/gamification. You can also get a full transcript of this episode, including links to references in the description or show notes. Thanks for joining me. Again, I'm your host, Dave Eng from Game-Based Learning by University XP. On Experience Points, we explore different ways we can learn from games. If you like this episode, please consider commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Subscribing is absolutely free and ensures that you'll get the next episode of Experience Points delivered directly to you. I'd also love it if you took some time to rate the show. I live to lift others with learning, so if you found this episode useful, consider sharing it with someone who could also benefit. Also, make sure to visit University XP online at universityxp.com. University XP is also on Twitter at university_XP and on Facebook and LinkedIn as University XP. Also, feel free to email me anytime. My email address is dave@universityxp.com. Game on.